right? All the women who call into Kevin Samuel's show, he asks them, he always, he sets them up. What do you want? They'll say, I want this, that, and the third. Do you want to work? Not really. Do you want to have to earn more than half of the income? Not really. Then he'll say, okay, well, then you want a guy who earns this much because you want this many children. And do you know how many guys make that much? He'll say, about 5 to 10%. So right away, you have the large majority of women calling in. I'm just using him as a very small example, but the large majority calling in and saying what they want in a mate is what 90% of black men can't offer. And because 90% of black men understand that, when they're addressing the marriage marketplace or the dating marketplace, they're not addressing it for marriage. That's not a deal that they can afford to close.
Well, I think it's important, though, because women are wanting something that inevitably they're not going to get. And we live in a world, and a lot of us women, and I'm including myself, are on I think I can get everything my heart desires. And that's why I think sexual market value in itself, I understand it. And I think that it should be, expanded on and taught. And we need to know this because, again, when you have women that calls themselves a 10 and they're 500 pounds, it's confusion. They might be the sweetest person in the world, kind, but yet they're not, but men aren't attracted to them. So we have to be honest. Look, madam, you could be sweet. You have to lose weight if you're wanting to get a man. Or the man that you want. So hold on, let me talk. Hold on, let's get some of the newbies up. What is going on? How about you? I haven't seen you in a long time since I did your show.
I know
6-7 months ago. How are you doing?
I'm great. I can tell you doing good.
I see you doing good. I see you on the IG traveling this world. I'm
trying to be in that 10% high value in the sexual marketplace. You dig? No,
you're a travel nurse.
Yes, sir.
You getting that money?
He going everywhere.
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
So what do you guys have to say about the topic?
Well, as far as the sexual marketplace, I think it's something that's always been there. It just wasn't a particular name for it. Mm-hmm. Women have always judged men by their resources, and men of high status have always judged women by their looks and by their youth and what they could bring to them as far as that aspect. So I don't think it's anything new. I think Mr. Samuels just repackaged it and made it popular. You know what I'm saying? It's been like that since the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. But now we just have it's more visible now. You can see it as such. So I actually had a conversation because I do work with a lot of women. Mm-hmm. And what I'm starting to realize is that when most people get into relationships, they become complacent. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of women really resent average men. They'll sleep with them. They'll marry them. They'll even have their child. But at the end of the day, they resent the average male for whatever reason that may be. Yeah. And I think this is why this conversation is so important. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said that's interesting because I heard women resenting men, but you're saying in particular the average man.
Yes, because a woman will let a man, that's not average, get away with certain things that she won't let an average man get away with. I've heard plenty of women say if a man is above average, she will be one of many. Mm. What's the saying? I'd rather cry in a Bentley than cry in a Honda Civic or whatever the case may be.
That's what they say.
A lot of women is choosing lifestyle over true happiness nowadays. And I see this all the time because I talk to women every single day. I work with them. So many women say, well, I picked wrong. But these high earning women are in a unique position. Women earning $100,000 a year and everything like that. That's not the norm. And with this atmosphere that we're in today, people think $100,000 is just easy to get. But that's not true. For most people. I'm in a rare breed of men. I'm 30 years old and I'm making 6 figures, but that's not rare. That's not, most men don't hit that to their 40s.
You said that's not common.
It's not common.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not common. My fault.
Yeah. Understood. Can I ask the high value nurse a question?
Yeah.
So brother, just out of curiosity, right? You're in the nursing field, so I imagine you work around a lot of white women who are high earning, right? As nurses, you know what I mean? So
You said white women?
yeah, you work around a lot of white women, right?
Yeah, it's pretty mixed. It's pretty mixed, but yeah.
Yeah, but the majority, if you look at the field, right, what white
Probably,
women
yeah.
are overrepresented.
Yeah.
Would you say, I don't know, and getting to know them, would you say that their husbands are as high earners as you are?
Absolutely not.
Exactly. I appreciate you saying that because I'm in spaces where I'm around a lot of high earning white women,
Yeah.
and none of their husbands earn what I earn. So I feel like sometimes in Black America we get this kind of like the grass is greener on the other side. But like these white women, they be married to construction workers and painters and just the salt of the earth type folks. But I think that a Black woman who is earning at that level will be like, well, I need a guy who's earning what I earn, um, or more. And the average guy won't be able to do that. The average family won't be able to be a one income household, right? If the average Black man is earning 42,000, and poverty is what 26K, for a family of four, that's a husband, wife, and two children. If a man is earning 40K, he probably is going to need some more income coming in, and chances are the Black woman is going to have to earn that additional income. So I'm just saying, when we start talking about the economics of family, more specifically the economics of Black family, Western policies are making it so it's very difficult for Black people to enter into this particular institution. And the reason why that is, and this is why I always try to stress this, they don't desire us to be here, right? I mentioned this yesterday. Ben Franklin, he wrote an essay back in 1751. The essay is called "An Observation Concerning the Increase of Mankind and the Peopling of Countries." And what he argued in that essay, he said, people increase in proportion to the number of marriages, and that is greater in proportion to the ease and convenience of supporting a family. So it's always been a societal policy to make it very difficult for Black men to bear the weight economically of a family, because they don't desire us to be able to support families, so that they don't desire us to go into marriage, and they don't desire us to reproduce. So therefore, many Black men understand inherently, like, man, it will be difficult for me to support a woman and have her stay at home and me handle everything, because like where do those economic opportunities lie for the 90% outside of the high value men?
But can I ask you a question though?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
let the
Oh,
ladies
sorry,
speak.
sorry.
Hold on, because I know it's been go ahead. Gotta get the ladies in here. Finally, someone called in. I'll be wondering where y'all be.
Peace, Courtney. Peace to the panel.
Peace.
So, I think that this conversation obviously is very layered. So it's a lot of things. So a lot of these things can be true at the same time. So I think one thing that we have to understand is how images, entertainment, media, all of these have played a part in our psyche. And so, like, even on my channel, I have something that called "Is Your Mind Your Own?" So even when we talk about someone not being like the sexual market value, and why we look at certain women a certain way, and we say that, well, they are not as appealing. Well, if you constantly have those images being played in your head since you come out of the womb, then there are going to be certain images that you look at as more appealing. And so we even know that, decades ago, there were some women who were thought as to be more appealing. And now we have a whole new standard. And so the standard of beauty is what? The standard of beauty is closer to the proximity it is to whiteness. And so when we constantly are bombarded with those images, then we don't really know if what we want is really what we want. It has been programmed into our mind. Uh-oh, am I echoing? Okay. And so also I know, so I got married at 22. So even when that was when like women at my age, at that time, I'm 36 now, but women at my age at that time, there was a lot of women walking around saying, I don't need a man, like girls my age. Oh, I don't want a man. I don't want a man. So that was when it started like really becoming rampant. around that time. And that's something that we're feeding our psyche. So we're feeding our psyche that we don't need a man. So now we're believing it. Our whole aura, everything about us is believing that we don't need that. And then even friends that I had at that time, they were talking about, you know, a certain type of guy. So it was that guy, he could have been nice, he could have been kind, he could have been on a certain path, but because he didn't fit your image of what a man should be, then it was like, oh, I don't want to deal with him, even though he might have been the best guy for you. And so a lot of times, and I don't want to get too deep or anything like that, but we have to understand that in essence, our soul is split. That's why we're leading with sex. We're leading with money. We're leading with all of these things to fill in our vacant esteem. Dr. Joy talks about that in her book, PTSS. So we're leading with this. So what type of person are you going to attract if you're leading with sex? What type of person are you going to attract if you're leading with money? Like, so I think another thing, like I said, looking at this all holistically, is like we're not wanting to even grow together. We want a ready-made man or a ready-made woman. And so it's just like, even my husband now, he's the same age as me. And so he is going further in his career. So if I was waiting, if I really wanted a ready-made man at 22, I would have had to get someone get someone who was in their 40s. But understanding that evolution within your marriage is important. So that person is going to grow financially, but you're also going to grow together spiritually. You're also going to grow together sexually. You're also going to grow together emotionally and mentally. And understanding, if we understand that, and just like Brother Clarence was saying, having our elders in the community, it has been a big problem with that, because some of our elders were the ones who was telling us not to get a man, or go ahead and get your education first. Don't worry about getting a man. And even if they were telling us to get a man, they were telling us to go outside of our race to get a man. All of these things are compounded together to, all of these things are true at the same time, but understanding, if we really want to get to the root of this, we need to look deeper into why we are even here in the first place.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Shorty. Bye.
You said it better than me. You said it better than me, because the way I was talking about the media, not just on the magazine, the TV, the music. When they had a thing come out, I don't want no scrub, I was scratching my head. Who idea was that? And they counter, I don't want no pigeon. When you have all the things compounded, it's like telling me, what's the point of being married? But I was taught in my country, marriage had a great benefit whereby you can build from there to something bigger. You don't have to wait till the person is already made. You can start from it's like saying you're a farmer. You plant the seed. You into the soil. You water it. How you think you got your apple for? Wait for it. When the apple come right now, you got to plant the seed for it. You got to water it. You got to cultivate it for it to grow. Some people don't want to take that chance. Want everything done. I told myself before I met my wife, if I were to make it big, I wouldn't want to get married, because I don't want nobody who I didn't know who walked with me through my struggle and my pain before I made it successful. But I want to marry somebody after I make it big, so you can enjoy the fruit of my labor. For what? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who taught us in my country not to do that?
Well, hold on, I have a question, because it's something that I've been thinking about and haven't really gotten a good answer on. So we're talking about sexual market value for women, and we hit our peak at 25. And of course, now we're saying Black women, you should find your husband in college. But then we're telling Black men, level up, and you're not married. You're not ready to get married till you hit your peak when you're 30, as far as financial peak. What women want, stability and financial. Okay. How are women going to find these men in college when we're telling men that their sexual market value peaks at 30 and ours at 20? We're off base. Are we not?
Good question.
So I'm trying to figure out, you're wanting me to get married in college, but the men that I want to marry, you're telling them that they're not ready for marriage and that their sexual market value does not peak until they're 30.
Because marriage...
What about me then?
marriage in the Western world is not communal based. This ideal that we presently have around marriage is very much centered around capitalist society, right? This desire that we've been marketed, right? More so, a lot of the women through the media, right? This whole white picket fence, the Prince Charming, the fairy tale, like the happy ending, like what Sister Ma'at talked about, that growing and building together. The way that we consume in a capitalist society, everything is quick. Even your food, right? You don't go through the process of growing your food, of nurturing the soil, right? You don't go through that process at all, right? Even if you want to have meat, you don't kill the meat, you don't clean the meat. You go to the supermarket, you pop something in the microwave, and that's the way that we want everything. We want it now, and we've been told that we deserve it all. Right. So our socialization is working against us from a number of different angles. Right. So just from a macro level, women are definitely receiving these messages that are working against them. But when you put race into it, there's an added layer, right? Because Black women are socialized to see Black men as disposable. Right. I don't need a man. Right. Dr. Tia Johnson, I had him on my show, and he was talking about what he referred to as like the low levels of anti-Black misandry, or the levels of anti-Black misandry. It's like just a boiling that's always there. The way that we view men in our community, specifically the way that Black women view men in our community. So if a man is not a convenience, right, the moment a man says to a woman that he has expectations, the moment a man says to a woman that he has standards, the moment that a man expects anything of a woman that takes her out of her comfort, then she can do without it. And she'll let you know, like, Negro, I don't need you. And I think that that's the attitudes a lot of our women have been socialized to have. So you have one factor with like the capitalist society, the feminism, but then you have the racism and misandry that's also baked into the cake, and it just makes for a disastrous pie, so to speak. So,
and with that, I think that's why a lot of men who are successful choose to date younger women, because it's a less chance of her being tainted with that rhetoric. You know what I'm saying? I do believe in younger women dating older. I don't think you should try to find. I would never tell if I had a daughter, I wouldn't tell her to try to find your husband in college. If you do, then that's fine. But he's not established. I don't think men should even.
Yeah, and then I want us to answer this question that he's asking for. Smart guy, can you ask the guest how Black men are also waiting for a ready-made woman? In my opinion, Black men have the lowest standards of any man on the planet, i.e. fat, attitude, kids, etc.
True indeed.
Are we agree? Yeah, you guys agree with that?
That's a fact. You ever seen 600-pound life?
Well, they're majority white women, and they all are married, and the men are always slim.
What does a ready-made woman mean?
Let me answer that question. When they're referring to ready-made woman who already got her own, she got her car, she got her house, she made good money. Men are not looking for that. No, the men that he referring to are the men who want to bust their behind. They're looking for a easy way out, like it would call sugar mommy.
You think so? I don't know.
Yeah, no, men aren't looking for a woman who's acquired like assets in a home and a business.
Not men on our caliber.
Like we don't like men don't necessarily.
No, not men on our. I understand what you're talking about. Not men on our caliber.
Yes.
I'm talking about the lower caliber.
This is what they're looking for.
You said men are looking for a mom. They're looking for somebody to take care of them. Is that what you're saying?
So I think ready-made woman for men is more of like they want her to be in top-notch shape. Like they want the looks to be there instead of saying, hey, I'm going to take this woman who might not be as fit and we're going to work out together. Or like they're looking for a perfect looking woman. They're not even thinking about her mental, emotional, any of those things. They're just looking for a woman that is easy on the eyes.
Good point.
Well, I think that's just like, well, okay, I could probably rock with that. Like if we're talking about, surface level, right? You meet the attraction, okay, but most men want to mold the woman that they have to fit their needs, right? Like For me, mindset, skill set, character, and attraction. So mindset is important for me because you're gonna raise my child. I don't want to marry no intersectional feminist. You know, I don't want to marry nobody who believes in some like crazy like nonsense, because your mind is going to raise my child. And then skill set. Are you resourceful? Can you manage a household economy? Right? If I give you 5, can you turn it into 50? Right? What are the skill sets you bring to the table? Character. You talked about faithfulness, loyalty. Character is important. I don't want nobody who's loose. I don't want nobody who's loose at the tongue, because you're a representation of me. Right? If you want to know a lot about a man, just look at his woman. It's like that's gonna tell you, oh, he's a weak man. Like look how his woman behaves. You know what I mean? And then there's the like attraction. So for me, for the long term, like yeah, attraction will get you through my eye gate, but then it takes a bit more for me to like want to close the deal and bring you into my world and under my covering.